So, the ABCs of Death 2. This particular movie was made in 2014, and it's 2 hours and 2 minutes long. It stars Martina Garcia, Andy Nyman, and Tristan Risk. Looks like the directors are Rodney Asher, Jillian Barrett, and Robert Buchek. Says this comic horror anthology includes tales of a hitman's botched plan, a boy whose grandfather sleeps under his bed, and a jury compromised of zombies. I just got done watching this whole thing, and I out of all of it, I don't recall a boy whose grandfather sleeps under his bed. I don't recall that. It was weirder than the first one. I enjoyed the format difference as far as how they were explaining the at the end of the little clips that they had, how they were telling you what each letter meant. They brought in a skeleton teacher and all that. It was pretty cool. Couple of issues with some of the clips. For example, F for falling. Okay, so basically this chick's in a parachute and the guy cuts her down, but when she lands, her femur snaps and she's got a bone protruding. But somehow, not only does she manage to hop all the way like a good 10, maybe 15 feet away, but she hops all the way back, and not only that, but with this freaking, she's got like this much bone sticking out of her leg. She somehow manages to kneel right there next to the guy when he falls out of the tree. No crying, no going or anything. I mean, what the fuck? I have to say that the last one was the weirdest, and it's basically the mom that stays pregnant for like years and shit, and then I guess I don't know, it's just very, very weird. Yeah, I don't know, but the graphics were much better in this one as far as like the blood and the guts and stuff. In the first one, everything looked like tomato paste, it was really thin looking, and it really didn't look like blood. But this one, they did a much better job of that. I mean, it's much more convincing. I have noticed that in both of these movies, giant dicks are a thing. And I'm not talking like, I don't know what you might think giant dicks are, but I'm talking like giant tree trunk sized dicks. I really just, why? I mean, yeah, it's a dick, woohoo. But, no, some of it was just, overall, it was just really weird. But this time, as far as, like, the lettering and everything, you can kind of, like, guess what it's gonna be, which was pretty good. Instead of, like, the first one where you're guessing multiple things and you're like, oh, I should have seen that. And this one, it's more along the lines of, you know, you can guess about a larger majority of them. And it's funny because some of the words I'm gonna have to go back and look up because like I've heard of some of them, but they've been used in a different context, so I gotta figure out, you know, why that's going on. Trying to decide which one was my favorite. Because they all kind of just mix together. Like, I don't want to say something that I just watched from this movie and get it confused with something from the first movie. The zombie one was pretty weird. Like, I mean, there was no real moments. It was more along the lines of just like no intelligence whatsoever. It's just kind of one of those things like, yeah, let's do it, you know? I think they had one or two animated ones, but overall the movie itself was pretty good. I mean, they did really well for having like I don't know, there's maybe not even a half an hour worth of time for each video. But no, it was very well done. Very well done. I don't know, there were just another weird one is I for Invincible. They were trying to kill their mother, but she had this weird stone in her mouth that kept her alive. I didn't understand that one. Like, I honestly was like, what the fuck? I couldn't figure out. I was like, what the hell is this one gonna be? I knew what letter it was. I was just like, see, I don't think technically invincibility might be the correct word, but I think they could have used a better word for it. Because, you know, we think invincible, we think like, well, I think, you know, like Man of Steel, fucking faster than a speeding bullet, you know, he can't get shot. The only thing he's, you know, impervious to, or the only thing that can actually hurt him is fucking kryptonite. But this is what I understand. They like stabbed her a whole bunch of times. They all shot her a whole bunch of times. One of them freaking set her on fire. And, you know, I mean, yeah, she was still alive, but it hurt her. So, I don't view that as technically invincible. But, you know, that's just a matter of my opinion. They, again, had a really nice mixture of, you know, different cultures, like, once again, Spanish, English, Japanese, American, you know, all that. And, you know, it wasn't all like this. They weren't all trying to do the exact same thing with their stories. They were trying to, you know, there was a variation to them. So, like, you know, there's religious aspects in some, just complete psychosis in another, you know. It's just a mix of different things, you know. Like, the very first one, it was Amateur, and it's the Hitman one, obviously. And I didn't realize it until after I'd seen the entire thing. The very first snippet of what you see is the way that his whole plan's going through his head. But then the second part that you see is what actually happens, you know, with him just fucking up as soon as he gets in the vents and then dying there and being there for 3 weeks. He's just dead. He screwed up so bad. Which I thought was funny because, you know, it's morbid, but at the same time, you know, after the they bring in some specialist or whatever to go through the vents and shit, and he knocks him down. He falls on him. He freaks out, and then the gun that this hitman was holding ends up shooting his target in the neck anyway. So I thought that was funny. It was definitely worth watching. I mean, there were literally times where I had to I could not take my eyes off the TV. And I mean, it's hard because that movie is 2 hours long. You know, I'm saying 2 hours even though it's 2 hours and some odd minutes because I never watched the credits. I mean, I don't really need to because it's just a bunch of names and honestly, who cares? No, it was for as long as it was definitely worth watching. I'm not sure what I'm gonna watch next. Because, I mean, it's 2016. Who knows? Maybe they're making another one. I mean, for God's sake, they made a Human Centipede 3. Have not decided if I'm gonna watch that one yet. I might not. I don't know. But, no, as far as the ABCs of Death 2 went, the graphics were good, the acting was great. I mean, it wasn't as shoddy as the first one. Like, the ones that were animated weren't, like, just grotesquely terrible. No, overall, it was a really, really good movie, and I enjoyed it. I would definitely recommend it to my friends. Well, I think what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna add it to my list, definitely, so I can watch it later. Alright, if you've seen the movie, if you've seen them both and you have a different opinion, or you have any suggestions, or you had a particular snippet from these two movies that really interested you, or you thought was just absolutely batshit crazy, let me know and we could talk about it. See you guys in the next video.